Theresa May is upbeat today, saying that we've reached a stage of negotiations that will assure both Leavers and Remainers. Do you agree with that?
I'm not sure it's actually going to assure both Leavers and Remainers. I mean, what we've seen since Friday, and for clarity's sake, I was actually in the press conference at 8 a.m. on Friday morning. I was there from early times, listening to what she and Juncker actually said. And what came out of those initial meetings and the statements that followed has left a lot of Leavers believing that we're still in the European Union, but in name only, particularly when you look at what is said about Ireland and the way that they think that they'll stay in the customs union over some areas. And also the Remainers who feel that they haven't got enough on citizens' rights. So I'm happy that we've got to this stage. I am actually delighted that we've got some form of agreement to move on towards trade. But what I do believe is Leavers, Remainers are going to be still arguing about this strongly for the next year or so.
So what you're saying, actually, that we're going to have a soft Brexit, but I mean, surely it's been made clear that we're going to remain in the single market for a period of transition, just 2 years only, and then we're definitely out. It's all about leaving in a smooth and orderly way, and if we're out of the single market, then that will be, in effect, a hard Brexit.
That's exactly what the government is saying, is that we have an orderly transition period. But the concern is for Leavers like myself is when you start hearing words such as regulatory alignment, does that actually mean that we're going to have to take on all the EU regulations over a whole swathe of industries? Not just in relation to Ireland, but if you do it to Northern Ireland and Ireland, does it apply to, say, farming or fisheries in the UK? And that's why it's so important now that we look greatly into the detail of what's actually said over the next few months. And one concern I have is when you have senior civil servants like Jeremy Hayward suggesting that this is a really positive move. Jeremy Hayward is one of the leading Remainers in the civil service, and when they come out and promote it, that's what makes Leavers like myself concerned.
So you agree with the fact that the EU is saying the really hard bit is still to come? You're saying so much detail is now still facing us. But is there a danger that all that has been achieved so far, literally on a handshake, isn't it, on a gentlemanly agreement, not any legality involved here, everything that's been achieved so far, could it still be undone?
Well, I think it'll be undone if it comes to what I'm hearing here in Strasbourg, is that both sides are hearing two different voices on this agreement. On the UK side, they, as you've already said, believe that we've got a transition period, we'll be out of the single market, the relationship with citizens is a time period only, and there is a very clear amount of money that will be finished with. Whereas the EU are thinking there's a lot more to it. There is a continuation of the rule of the ECJ in certain areas. There's a continuation of the single market. And that discrepancy is what's going to drive friction, drive harder bargaining. And I think you'll see that feeding out into the press, as you've already seen today over the Ireland and David Davis comments.